Greetings, fellow Terrans. Professor McKee here with a tutorial for Terra Invicta. We finance professors have hobbies, and one of mine is playing Terra Invicta. I'm creating a collection of tips I've learned while playing this game in case you want to have a study break. Today's tip is about some of the hidden options you can pick before you start the game. No, it's not which faction to pick, although there are certainly differences, but rather it's the customization of their campaign. So if you click on this, you can change things. Most of the things you change will disable your achievements. So I'm going to treat those as off limits because that's sort of an invalid setting according to the developers. But there are two things you can change without affecting achievements. First, instead of having a random from the default, you can choose from all the different professions what your two starting counselors will be. Now, the default is that you get two random counselors, although the game has some code ensuring that you will always have someone with control nation. They will have at least some persuasion. So if you do choose your counselor profession yourself, which is what I'm going to recommend, you should always choose at least one persuasion profession. It would be really bad to not have anyone with persuasion, no one able to do control nation in the very start of the game. That's just, you need to do control nation a ton. Most likely you actually want to choose both of them to be persuasion-based counselors. And I have some advice about what profession to pick. I recommend you choose two celebrities. Celebrities are a persuasion-focused profession. They have the highest starting persuasion of any profession on average. They get an average of 8.34 persuasion for the new counselors, the first two, because those two new counselors get a bonus to their statistics. They also have an average of 4.24 administration, which is respectable for a persuasion counselor, and will let you equip some orgs early on. They also are guaranteed to have both control nation and public campaign as part of their mission set. This is very helpful for the early game scramble, and not all persuasion professions have public campaign naturally. So if you were going with default, you could get unlucky and have both of your starting counselors not able to do public campaign, as well as being a profession that's not so great at persuasion, and you don't have good persuasion even if you had public campaign. It shouldn't happen unless you get very unlucky with the celebrity. Celebrities also are likely to have some great early game traits focused on persuasion and resource production. Celebrities have a relatively high chance for a persuasion profession to get one of the money income traits that give you a lot of money, rich, billionaire. Those also give you a tiny bit of influence too. They have a very high chance to get one of the influence income traits, eminent, famous, megastar. They also have high chance for getting some other conditional persuasion traits, opinion leader, media darling, chain, that gives influence as well as persuasion in high government countries like European Union, United States. And while there's some other persuasion professions that are a little bit better for some of the other traditional persuasion traits like evangelist, celebrities can get counselor, the unifier chain. They can get agitator, firebrand, demagogue chain of traits. Now, evangelists, activists are better for those respectively. Evangelist has a higher chance for counselor unifier. Both evangelists and activists have better chances for those agitator, firebrand, demagogue ones, but celebrities can get those too. And then finally, celebrities have a pretty low chance to get traits that would block national hero, which is a conditional bonus for persuasion based on the home country of the counselor. So if you get lucky with the home country of the counselor and say they're from China, then you can get an extra persuasion bonus. I have a whole video about various traits that are great for counselors, and I walk through in more detail why these persuasion and resource traits are good. So go check that out. It's in the playlist for my Terra Invicta tutorials too. Now, speaking of our home country, there's one other thing we can change here, which is the fellow citizen counselor. So if the box is checked, your first counselor will be from your home nation. The game will look at your computer, take location data, and force that counselor to be from your home country. So you can uncheck the box and you still have achievements activated, and now both counselors will be randomized in terms of their home nation. This isn't just cosmetic, which is why we're talking about it. There are potentially conditional persuasion bonuses. National hero is the biggest one, but family ties could matter too. And there's some other security-based ones that might show up as well, and the conditional persuasion ones can be very helpful early on if you're in a big country like, well, China is the biggest one, but the United States is pretty large too. So if I'm from the United States and I want to ensure that one of my persuasion people has a good chance that National Hero will work well, I can check the box. Another reason to care about this is that the prerequisite for purchasing most government orgs, I think actually all government orgs, is you either need to own a control point in that country, or you have a counselor whose home region is from that country. So if you're from a country that you're not likely to pick up normally, but you want to be able to purchase government orgs from that country, and a good example of this would be Australia. Australia actually has quite good government orgs for their cost, but Australia is a country you're not likely to pick up control points in normally. Maybe you're going to use it to produce boost or something like that, but you're not like guaranteed to get control points in it like you might have for like France or China or the United States. And since you're much less likely to take control points there, forcing one of your counselors to be from that country is a potential way to ensure you get government orgs from that country. Now, personally, I'm a professor at a university in Texas, so I'm from the United States. A lot of times I will be picking up control points in the United States because the U.S. is valuable as a country. And so unless I really think I need that conditional persuasion bonus, which for the U.S. you kind of don't really need it. It's nice to have, of course, but it's not absolutely necessary like it would be for China. I'm probably not going to have much advantage if I force one of my counselors to be from the United States. But if your home country is different, or you're not planning on taking the U.S. early, maybe you're opening European Union and China and taking the U.S. third or even later, then maybe you would want to do that. All right, so the next time you start out in Terra Invicta, remember, try hiring some celebrities. If you found this video helpful for your study break, please comment, like, and or subscribe so that others can find this video too. Happy not studying or recruiting counselors to fend off an alien invasion.